Hey, this is Dave the Animal Guy. We had to take a small break and get suited up a little better because the bees were getting a little tiny upset and chasing around the camera. So we're back. Let's go see what Mike is up to.
Okay, because this is a first-year colony, the baby part of the nest, the brood nest. You see that brown, that chocolate brown down there?
Yes.
That round part, that's where the hive is living. All this honey, that's their larder, that's their stored food.
Gosh.
They've stored so much on each frame that we're actually going to take that last frame of honey. They've got plenty for the winter. They're going to eat this in the winter and they're going to fill up the comb with babies next year.
Wow.
So the size of the hive will get much, much larger. They've got plenty of fuel to do it in. We've still got, plenty of forage. We've got rain coming soon. Flowers and nectar are going to be available again. This is being Southern California. This is really good.
And no real sign of any bad parasites. We did see a couple little beetles.
These guys are strong enough. They're kicking the wax moths. They're a little fierce. You can see they're quite agitated.
Yeah.
In spite of the fact that we smoked them, they're fairly aggressive.
Yeah.
I don't mind saying that. Part of that is they're crowded. They tend to be a little poopier when they're...
And we're not just checking the honey. We're literally scooting everybody over and kind of being a little intrusive.
We are into their private space.
Yeah. And they don't appreciate it.
And this is a full inspection, so we're moving every frame.
Yes.
And that breaks a lot of propolis, and broken propolis is what this is on.
Oh.
You can cut through baby bees when you're doing a rescue, and they don't care. But you mess with their heating and air conditioning. Oops. Okay.
Oops.
We've got problems. We've got some cross comb. Some beekeepers will let the last frame just glue itself to the side because they tend to do that. They tend to bridge right to the end of the hive. But it means that you can't move the frames over, elongate the hive, put resources on that side of the hive. There's a lot of things that are not optimal. I like to be able to move all my frames and inspect all my frames. So since this is a new colony, I'm going to move everything and make sure that all the comb is straight. Now those two frames bound a little bit when I pulled that one up. So, and I can see why. Because we've got a frame that is not a full frame.
Oh boy.
See that?
It's leaking a little honey?
Yep. We have a frame that is not a deep frame, it's a medium frame.
Oh.
This was because I gave them a frame of honey.
Oh,
started.
They built
all of this.
They built all that. Do we need to replace that with the full-size one?
We do. So I'm going to try seeing if I can get them to march by smoking them, a little over smoking.
Gosh.
See if I can get them to march off of the frame. Sometimes they'll do that all on their own. They'll clear the frame for you.
And do we have one more in the truck?
I have brought 3 up from the truck just now.
Oh, okay.
So once you march off,
come on, baby girls.
Into the house. So there's a couple of ways of getting bees to get off frames. There's a chemical made from flowers that bees don't like. They use in the industry called Bee Quick or Bee Gone, Honey Bandit or Honey Robber. And it allows them to get all the bees
Does that spoil the honey? I imagine that might spoil the honey, right? No?
It dissipates. It's a naturally derived chemical. But you see, they didn't eat the honey I gave them. They simply built more. So these girls did very, very well.
Wow.
So I'm going to encourage them to leave their little nest.
Oh boy, look at them all on this spilled little bit of honey right there. Wow.
Once you guys hike, most of these will be house bees rather than foragers. And we damaged that comb because I set that corner on it. And they're going to lick it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Usually I have a brush with me, and I don't today. So we're just going to smoke them a bit.
And then will you harvest that as honey?
We're going to harvest this whole
We're going to harvest this whole frame today. and then put a replacement frame that's full size, because this is a little miniature.
So much honey. Yeah, they've got so much honey. I shouldn't have walked away without inspecting, but I went on my summer vacation, unfortunately, and didn't check to see that I left this small framing. And I should have taken care of that.
Boy, that looks like some beautiful honeycomb.
Yep, it is.
Gosh. And see, so all this here was extra because this frame was not deep. And so they actually built on to the bottom, and that's why we have to change it. Boy, how many bees would you estimate is in this hive, Mike?
I don't make that estimate.
Oh, you don't?
People ask
You don't?
all the time, and you know.
You just hate to make up a number.
I've seen beekeepers who will tell you to the.
Yeah, they'll tell you 10,000, 20,000.
And you know, how
Yeah.
do that when this bee is half the size of, you know, a standard commercial bee? I don't know. Maybe they do it by weight, but frankly, to me, it's not that important. That's a basic data I don't need or use.
Yeah.
It's a lot of bees.
A lot of bees.
Large quantity. Okay, so we're going to give them one frame on this side where we took that off, and then we're going to move all those frames back and add two on the opposite side.
Tell us a little bit about this little smoker, Mike.
One of the oldest tools there is. The Egyptians were doing it with braziers, like incense braziers. Smoke triggers a reflex or a reaction in them. I think there's supposedly, as much, stay about over here. We don't want to give them too much. They've had some. It makes them think that there might be a fire coming. At least that's the common theory. And that their reaction is to drink nectar, which is pre-honey. It's what they gather from the flowers that hasn't yet been dehydrated or fermented enough to become honey. And they drink that first. And we think that it's because they are worried that they might have to move the hive because of the fire. And this is an emergency response. It is definitely a stress on them. Like most things man does to the beehive, they're unnatural. You know, it's like a bear would do to a nest. It's getting in and ripping the hive apart. So the reactions tend to be defensive, and smoke interferes with that reaction.
And what do you think people should do, Mike, if they discover a swarm in their yard?
Well, if they're close enough to me, call me. If not, call a beekeeper or a bee rescue removal specialist as fast as possible, because the swarm is the easiest thing to catch. A hive removed from a wall is a lengthy and expensive process. A hive caught in a yard when it's still a ball is very easy to do. And it's
And can you explain how they don't really sting that much when they're in the swarm situation compared to protecting the hive?
The bees' world is driven by smell. And while they're in their swarm cycle, they're being compelled by their queen's pheromone to stick together. They're protecting her, and they're moving her to a new spot to live. It's the usual reproduction of the hive to swarm, to split the hive. The queen leaves with 4/5 of the bees, leaving in her place her daughter. Actually, several hatching daughters, one of which will become the new queen. It looks to me like we may have not brought enough deep frames to fill. I'm still going to have to put that follower in. Darn it.
And what is the gap size in between there approximately, Mike? What, they need that little gap, obviously, right? How do you gauge that?
Well, I have to guess and by gosh it a bit because my bees are smaller. Kerr Langstroth, who invented the stackable hive like this, actually discovered that if you kept bee comb guides exactly a specific distance apart, that the bees would build straight parallel combs. They would each imitate the last comb, and if the first one was straight, all the other ones would be straight. And this aided them in making production hives, so that we could harvest easily because it came out straight.
Versus if they were maybe in a hollow log, it'd be a little harder to harvest the honey.
Okay, this needs a frame. I need to remember to bring one frame next time. Okay, so you guys are going to get shaken and stirred. So this is going to be a little exciting. We're going to bang the bees, and they're going to mill around a bit. And we're going to do this follower first. We're going to try this first. This. They'll all figure it out. Ones that are down on that honey, however, it's going to be a little more tricky. So some of them. You may lose this piece of honey off the bottom because it's new wax.
No, it's not going to quite.
Put the smoker down.
Okay.
Okay. I want you to hold this frame, top and bottom. I'm going to cut this piece of wax off the back.
Okay.
When I'm done, I'm going to have you set that in the bucket. Set it in the bucket. Good.
Okay. So now we got to put that backboard back in because we don't have that one extra frame.
Nope, we're going to leave it open. I'm going to bring another frame the next time I come.
Ah.
Doors on this side. Just very carefully.
Look out, girls.
Right. Now, bees can smell a single bee being smashed. So you want to cut down on the amount of negative feedback they're getting.
Yes.
And since their world is smell, things like what you smell like for instance, you don't want to eat bananas as a beekeeper because it's very, very close to their alarm pheromone.
Wow.
In terms of their scent.
Wow. Bananas.
Bananas.
Gosh. And what colors do you recommend? Is it true that darker colors make them feel more like it could be a predator, like a big bear or something like that? Is that why they make bee suits white?
When they have aggressive colonies, when they have to take out African colonies, beekeepers will put a white circle, a black circle on their chest. The bees will come and sting that instead of getting in front of their faces.
Wow.
So.
Wow.
Okay, so now we're going to move on to the second hive. One thing I did notice when we got here is that the shade roof, which is over here, the second one here, wasn't over this one. It may have been that I just forgot to put it on last time. Usually I put a couple of bricks on it to give it a little space between the ventilation holes and the metal, just to keep them from getting more into the metal. But basically what this is doing is just keeping some more shade on it. Now that we're into the weather, I'm going to make sure the covers are all on because we're going to get some rain.
Yeah.
On any moisture at the time.
Aha.
Okay, let's see how the temperament of these girls is. Well, that was a very, very healthy hive. fully sustaining, making a lot of honey, and it's a first-year hive. It's a viable, successful rescue. Now, sometimes I'll come to a yard, and there won't be any bees coming in and out, and I'll open it up, and it'll be full of wax moth larvae.
Wow.
Beetles, and all wiped out.
Wow.
Rescued. And that can be due to a lot of things. Bees are under a lot of stress when they're rescued. Their hive has been displaced. If they don't do the rescue fast enough, the brood, those babies that you saw in the little brown, if that chills before there are bees to cover it, the hive's dead. That's the next generation of bees in their little cocoons waiting to hatch.
Wow.
If they drop in temperature too much, that's the hive.
And what is the average lifespan of like these average little worker bees or the little?
Like 6 weeks, 6, 8 weeks, but queens will go 4 to 6 years. I think the longest they've had a queen go is I'm going to say 8 years, but I don't think it's quite that long. For a while, they thought that the queen's diet of royal jelly was the secret to preserving life. And they would harvest royal jelly and people would eat it in hopes of preserving their youth.
Yes. Even I believe that one. Is that turned out to be a myth?
You know, I'm not in the business of dispelling myths, but I shake my head at most of these things. There's not enough data. I think even the scientific studies that have been done on them have been a little iffy.
Now, is this lid stuck down with the propolis?
Yes. And because of that, as soon as we move the lid, we'll be breaking the propolis seal. So the first thing I'll do as I move the lid is put some smoke exactly where I broke it. And this confuses them. This messes up the scent of the propolis. So you hear it snap?
Yes.
Right? Yeah. So I'll do a little bit right where the propolis was disturbed. And I'll give it a couple minutes for the smoke to sort of take effect on the inside. They'll often climb off of the top cover a bit, which helps. And then I'll set the smoker sort of upwind so it can trickle a little bit toward.
And these little guys, they seem a little different than their neighbors.
Yeah, they will all be different.
Yeah, and they don't mix. These little guys will come to this hive, and those little other rascals will always go to that hive. Is that right, Mike?
In general, there's something beekeepers call drift.
Oh boy, he's up trunks.
There's also the phenomenon where if I were to trade the positions of these two hives, some of the bees would come home and join the wrong hive. And it's a way that beekeepers sometimes will help out a hive that's weak. And they'll give them bees from a stronger hive, just by reversing it. These ones are quite aggressive.
Wow.
See how they're all over your veil?
Yes.
Make sure your zipper's complete.
Okay.
There's a velvet.
Whoopsie. You think one just... Oh, yeah.
I don't have a full... yeah, these are very aggressive.
Wow.
They just got me through my love.
Oh, boy. Wow.
Yeah, I got a little sting on my glove.
Yeah, it feels like maybe I might have got one on the leg somehow. Something stinging. Wow. Yeah, these little girls are not happy.
I think they're...
They look pretty good though, huh? Or are you going to do a few checks?
I'm not going to do
Not going to do a full check? Oh yeah, add another story. Yes.
I think they might require another box. These are what I would call aggressive bees, and I don't in general keep them once they get to be too hot. If these girls don't calm down, I will kill them. Because I don't want their genetics mixing with other bees. And also, they're harder to work. You know, they could be problematic. They could sting somebody.
Yes.
They're a little more hostile. Yeah, these girls are pretty hot. I'm going to take out this one frame just to see how. Yeah, this hive is considerably more aggressive than the first.
Boy, this is Dave the animal guy. Boy, we're having a rough time.
I'm not going to give these girls a second story. I'm going to put a screen top on them in preparation for taking them out.
They're a little too aggressive?
Yeah, they're too much. They're going to hurt somebody.
Okay.
And that's not okay. Okay, so I need to go down to the truck again.
Okay.
No, don't smoke them anymore.
Don't smoke them anymore? Okay.
We have discovered a couple of things. One of our hives is aggressive, and because of that I'll need to come back and actually kill it and replace it with a gentler hive. I don't have the time or capacity right now to requeen it, and we're coming onto the winter cycle, so the optimal thing is to actually bring in a gentle hive. But the first one was reasonable, but the second one, obviously, definitely the smoke didn't gentle enough. I got a sting through my cuff of my glove in my hand. You got one somewhere, didn't you? And did you get one?
I might have got one on the ankle, but I'm not sure. I might have, so far, maybe so good for Dave the animal guy.
Okay, I'm good.
But boy, these little guys are aggressive. So we're gonna run down to the truck, and boy, this is Dave the animal guy. If you enjoy this video, give us a thumbs up, and please subscribe and hit that notification bell. I'm glad you guys at home don't have to wear a bee suit because this is something else. This is Dave the animal guy. Thanks so much for watching, and thanks so much for my friend Mike and for what he does for the bees. It's really a life's work and a dedication. So this is Dave the animal guy. We're going down to the truck. We're retreating.
Go on.